and the stream started. So, a few things have been popping up this morning. Nice to see, as opposed to what we've seen the last week or two. And like 3 or 4 stocks that we were looking at coming up at 7 o'clock. Popping up. Oh. LA. 12 million share float. Low volume though. So I don't know if I'm going to trade this. We'll wait to see if volume comes into it. TRXC has been trading pretty nicely, but it's pulling back a little bit now. We'll see if it comes back down to this $5 level. See where it goes from here. OVID also traded pretty nicely this morning, up from $3 all the way up to 6. It's pulled back down to 5. So give this a little time to get some strength back here. Just below view up, so still has the potential to come back up. KMPH, leading gapper today, but has sold off pretty hard. Came up earlier this morning. Just before I woke up, this happened. So we just gotta wait and see what happens there. If we see anything coming back into this. Did have a spike of volume here at 7 o'clock in the morning, but really didn't do much to recover any of that. OCGN was moving really nice this morning. Popped up pretty low volume in the first 5-minute candle here. So here, fairly low volume, moved up, completely reversed the move, and then made a second breakout that straight up $3. So pretty nice to see. I took a trade on this. My other account, unfortunately, took a trade over like 1150 here for the break of the previous high. I held up, took some off around 13, and then I bought this coming up with the expectation to break over 14 here, and then I was holding this floor, and then at 7 o'clock it immediately sold off, so I lost a good portion of the move that I made originally, which was unfortunate. So just another thing to, I guess, keep in mind is that at 7 o'clock when that volume does come in, the thing is spiked down like 70 cents immediately, so it's just something to be aware of. Right, SLGG kind of coming up again here. Made a move earlier this morning. It's kind of going sideways in the second move right now. So let's see what happens with that. XMD. So TXMD coming up, but really low price stock, so I don't know if I'm gonna take a trade on that. I know, so I did take a trade on OCGM this morning in my other account, and I traded up like through 1150, like up through here. Took off profit. I like closed my trade out as it dipped back down here. So I got like 1150 to like 1275 or something like that. And then I bought coming up here as it broke through like 1350, pushed up to 14, and then I like held my entire position coming into 7 o'clock, and then at 7 o'clock it sold off completely. So I pretty much lost all of the profit that I made on OCGN this morning. Is really unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But we'll see if it pops back up. Definitely has the potential to make a move back up here. TRXC was trading really nicely this morning. I didn't take a trade on it, but this is what you want to see on these 1 minutes. You know, just like a straight move from 450 all the way up to 520 with essentially no pulling back. Really, really nice. So we'll see on this, now that it's come down towards VWAP, if this makes a move over the previous 5-minute candle, which is going to be a 510. If we end up pushing above 510, I'll definitely take a trade on this. OCGN, yeah, coming up to VWAP a little bit right now, but got a ways to go. We're going to take a trade on it. KMPH, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to make a move back up to its highs today. OVID, you know, OVID, all right here, just broke above VWAP, and seems to be holding above it. So we'll see how this 1 minute candle shakes out. See, this 1 minute candle kind of made a false breakout here, but it's the new 5-minute candle right now. So if we see the new 5-minute candle come up above 556 here, could be a nice trade on that. And then we'll keep an eye on TRXC to see how this next 5-minute candle shakes out. TRXC seems to be coming down a little bit. So let's maybe take a trade here on OVID as it pushes up through 556. Keep TRXC on watch over here. And we'll see what OVID ends up doing here. Besides that, I mean, I was looking at like Rocket from yesterday and GME, but neither of those have really done anything this morning. Rocket has unfortunately pulled back, you know, pretty much like a massive portion of the move that it made this morning at 4 o'clock. So you see this crazy move during the day yesterday, just absolutely insane. Not only did it make this move, like it halted going down here, and it recovered both of those halts. So pretty crazy. But yeah, peaked to 48. Now it's pulled all the way back to 39. So if it does go back up, I'll take a trade on it. But I mean, as of right now, it's looking a little pulled back. I was hoping either OVID here or TRXC we're gonna break out of this range and push to the highs, but looks like both of them are kind of pulling back a little bit. OVID still looks fine as far as you know, like a 5-minute setup here. Still looking all right. TRXC has pulled back quite a bit now. It's, you know, three red 5-minute candles in a row. Which is fortunate, but you know, if it pushes above 5 again, we could take a trade for this break of 5, and then we'll get the new 5-minute candle. So OVID coming up now on the 1 minute. So just broke new 1 minute high at $5.30. Think about taking some shares on this. So I'm gonna try to grab a couple. So I just took 20 shares of OVID. In my trading window here. So we're gonna keep the stop tight. We'll ride it down to 515. If it pushes down below 515, we'll sell off. But I'm hoping for the reversal here of this 5-minute candle, and then the push up through 550. And then if we push above 550, we'll get the new high for a 5-minute candle. So we'll just see how this shakes out here. I bought on the bid as it pushed down, so my fill was a little bit better than previous times. So I'm sitting at 530 right now, which is about the exact breakout point of this last 1 minute candle, so I'm happy with that. 1 minute until the new 5 minute candle. So pushing down right now, but that's not a super big deal. Like I said, as long as we're holding above 515, I think we're looking good. And then we get this new 5 minute candle to push up. We'd ideally want the 5 minute candle to push up like pretty quick, just so we get a solid move through 550, and then hopefully we get to push back up to $6.
Did you do any trades this morning yet?
I did trade this morning, but I lost money.
Oh, right.
Yeah, quite unfortunate. I think a trade on OCGN that was good, but then like OCGN coming into 7 o'clock just like completely sold off, and I was holding when it came into 7. So could be better. So new 5 minute candle starting right now on OVID. So we want to see this push up quickly, and if it starts selling off here, we'll probably sell off our shares. But we want to see the break of 550 here. So kind of not really moving too much at the moment, which I'd like to see some clear strength in the green direction if we think we're going to get this break in the 5 minute candle. Good down, yeah, until like VWAP here, 520. So as long as it's holding above 520, it's still looking okay. I guess 516 is really the place to hold above. It's the previous low of the 5 minute candle. So we'll just give this a second and see how it ends up shaking out. And then TRXC also coming up here, so might want to take a trade on that if OVID doesn't break out soon. But it seems to be pushing up. So we're pushing up to 550. We want to break 556. And then in the break over 575, we'll add for the push up to $6. So it's got to hold this move above 556 here. All right, so we're pushing up. We hit 560. Good volume coming in, really nice volume on the 1 minute. So as long as we hold up here, that's really nice for us. We want to hold above 556 on this 1 minute candle. Seems to be quite a lot of selling coming into the levels here, unfortunately. Like a nice smoother move up, but the candle closed at 558, which is not bad. But I would have liked to have seen a cleaner move up through here. Yeah, so on the break up through 570 now, we'll try to buy more shares. Pushing up. So I bought 10 more shares. 570. So looking for the move up to $6 here. So ideally we'd get this break fairly quickly. We don't want to hold too long. I'd say if it drops back down to 550, then I'll probably sell off some of my position, or below 550 I'll probably sell off some of my position. So we were looking for like a quick breakthrough here and a nice solid move up, which it doesn't really seem to be giving us. A lot of selling coming into it up here. So it's dropping back down to 550. See if it holds 550. Alright, bounced off 550. Looking alright for the time being. Still fine with just holding this. The 5 minute candle is ending in a minute. It's still above the previous 5 minute candle high, so at least on the 5 minute chart we're looking alright. Yeah, so I bought down at 530, and then I added to my position at 570 for this break. So my cost base is a little higher now. So we want to see it hold above 550, especially with this 5-minute candle ending in 50 seconds. TRXC starting to move up again. Nice move on TRXC. So maybe if this ends up folding over, we'll switch over to that stock. We pushed back up to 575 here, but couldn't hold it up. See what this next 5-minute candle does. This 5-minute candle was really, the beginning of this 5-minute candle was really nice. You know, highest volume we've seen the entire day, but it just couldn't push over those highs. So 10 seconds to the closing of this candle, and we'll see what this next 5 minutes starts to do here. So if it immediately dips, I'm probably going to sell off some of these shares. It starts coming down into 550. But we want to see it break out. You know, having good volume coming in on the first 1-minute candle would be nice, and seeing it make a new high would be, you know, even better here. We're pushing up. All right, we push through. New high of 581 here. At least what I saw, 583, 584. As we push up through to 595, I'm probably going to take some shares off just to take profit. We get up to that 590 area. Like I said, if we come back down to 550, I'll probably take off some shares because I want to take off. I want to get some profit here. So yeah, if we come back up above 582 here, 583, probably take some shares off just to get some profit in. We're coming up to it right now. Yeah, a lot of resistance coming up here. It's fighting for every additional cent we're getting on this thing. Which is unfortunate. Yeah, so a lot of selling coming in. I'm probably gonna take off a few shares here just to take some profit, since it seems like this might pull back now. We're gonna have to wait again for, you know, the setup over 595. Pushing up. Good. Alright, so hopefully we see some volume coming in here as we push to the high of day. Pushing up, pushing up. Nice, new high. Might want to add some shares here if we get a dip back down into the 80s. The hope that we could break through $6 here. So take off a few more shares as we come up through $6. So I'm only holding 10 shares now. But I mean, looking pretty good here. So we'll see how it acts as it comes back down through 6. We want to see it hold above 6. If it comes back down through 6, it's not a great sign. The cost basis for the shares that we're holding currently is $5.72, so we're around 30 cents up on those. So we got some room to let it pull back, but it would be really nice if this 5-minute candle ended above $6. On the other hand, it looks like we picked the right stock to trade because TRXC seems to have pulled back. So OVID really seems like the one to watch right now, at least with the way the volume is coming into it and how we're moving right now. So I might expect a little bit of a pullback here. We'll see. If we break below 590, we'll probably take our shares off the table and then try to get in on the next setup. Since now we're a little bit extended on the 1 minute, and even on the 5 minute, you know, we've put in 5 candles in a row that are pretty solid. You know, there was one red candle in there, but it was a relatively small red candle, so not really something to be too concerned with. Yeah, if we push down through 590 here, probably gonna take off some shares and then look for a better entry. All right, so I'm out right now. Yeah, I made $13 on that push up. So I think we ended up buying in, yeah, around 530, 20 shares at 530 ish, and then we bought 10 more shares at 570. And then we took off shares, you know, in between 580 and $6.11. So since it's a little extended, I wanted to get out, see if it pulled back a little bit, and then we can get back in as it starts coming back up through $6 here. So a new 5-minute candle is about to start. So we'll see what this 5-minute candle does. As far as like the watch list, I've been keeping an eye on it while we were in this trade, but I don't really see anything. So we're pushing up through 6 here on OVID. Come up through 6. Maybe take some shares on this. Bumped against 6 twice. So clearly a bit of a seller at 6, but I mean still holding very close to 6, so I wouldn't be surprised if it back a little bit. We'll give this thing some time to chill. So it's the new 5-minute candle. The previous 5-minute candle high was the 611. So really the break on a 5-minute would be over 611. So we might wait until then. It pushed against $6 or close to $6 on 2 1-minute candles in a row. So $6 might be the place to buy as we're coming up through 611. So I'll just let this pull back a little bit while we look at some of these other charts. Yeah, so we'll keep OVID on watch. TRXC, like I said, a nice move up. It had really, really good price action coming up here in the morning. Like, very, very solid. Almost no pulling back at all. So I was hoping for that too when it popped up here, but now it seems to be pulling back a little bit. Might be worth trying to take some shares on it over 515 for the new 5-minute candle. But I'm going to focus on OVID unless it starts really looking good. SLGG popped up on the scanners while we were in that trade, but trading a little choppy here, even on the 5-minute. It's very, you know, keeping pretty tight prices here, and also, you know, just really, really choppy up and down. So it would have been nice if we had seen it hold more of this move earlier in the morning and get some follow through on it, but looks like it's struggling to do that right now. So yeah, it would have to come up for me to want to take a trade on that. And OVID coming down towards VWAP right now, so might be a time to take a dip trade in this 550 area. Could be a good time to get some shares if we expect it's going to push back up. This one's been fighting for like every cent that it's been pushing up, so I'm probably going to wait and not try to take a dip trade on this until we get some. I'll probably wait for this 5-minute candle is kind of big. We'll see what the next 5-minute candle does, but maybe taking the next 1-minute candle to break high would be the right choice, since it has been looking all right. This last breakout, though, you know, from the previous high of day, it was 595, and we only pushed up to 611. So we're not expecting like huge moves on the top. So yeah, it's just something to be aware of. We can check out GME moving sideways. KMPH this morning made a nice move, but now it's pulled back, kind of just moving sideways. OVID is coming up on the 1-minute candle here to make a new high. Did not hold it, it looks like, so that's unfortunate. So now I would probably wait for. So now it's done like two 1 minute false breakouts. So I'd probably wait for a 5 minute setup on this, especially now that it's pushing closer to VWAP. Um, OCGN seems to be coming up a little bit again here. Might be one to keep an eye on. Rocket made an incredible move yesterday, and then even at 4 o'clock this morning, but has pretty much pulled it all back to where it closed. Well, below where it closed yesterday. So yeah, not something I'd be keeping an eye on unless it makes another move again. It's got like the news is like it announced a dividend because I guess the CEO didn't like that his company was shorted so much, so he's trying to squeeze the shorts out manually. Uh, I don't actually know enough about that kind of stuff to say whether or not that'll work. So just gonna leave that to whether you guys want to trade that. SLGG, like I said, pulling back, and then TRXC also pulled back a bit, and it's kind of moving sideways now. So we just had something pop up on the scanner here, but with low volume. So yeah, it doesn't look great. Low volumes, pulled back quite a bit. So if this starts, picking up with some more volume, think about taking a trade on that. But right now, we just got our stuff on watch. Gonna split up this chart just so I can keep OCGN and TRXC watch here. So OCGN on the break over 13 might be worth buying. We see a little bit, a little bit more volume coming in here. About 5 minutes ago. But not even close to the peak volume back here at 7 o'clock. And this is highest volume of the day is on big red candles. So just gotta watch out as you're coming up into these high of day levels, that there might be more people more people trying to get out than trying to get in. OVID now is just completely folded over below VWAP and still pushing down. So kind of happy that I took the profit off the top there. And we talked about it earlier this week. But on Monday and Tuesday and even last week, we saw these breakouts over the highs being very weak. So, the expectation when it breaks over $6 here from $5.95 as it breaks over here, it made 16 cents breakout, and then has essentially pulled back, nearly a dollar. So these stocks have been making like really weak breakouts. And they've not been having like any follow through on them. So that was why today, as we pushed over 6, and then as soon as we started to pull back down through 590, I pulled off all of the shares I was holding because, just from what we've seen in the last week, you kind of have to take the previous experience of Monday and Tuesday and expect the stocks are going to probably act a similar way until we see something that actually has momentum. And we haven't seen anything that has like real nice momentum, especially in this like 7:30 to 9:30 area. Seems like a lot of the like initial momentum is happening between 6:30 and 7:30, where some of these stocks are getting like nice moves, and then the breakouts after that have been very weak. So we managed to get a nice trade on this, but when it actually broke through the previous pre-market high, it's just completely pulled back now. Chilling under VWAP. So yeah, it seems like the shorts are ruling the low floats this week, at least in terms of follow through. And our meme stocks, GME, AMC, haven't really been doing much in the pre-market this week either. So just kind of waiting for the opportunities. And I mean, like yesterday, essentially there was one opportunity, and it was, if you missed it, um, you just kind of had to stare at the stocks until 9:30. Um, so that might be what happens again today. OVID might have been our one shot here, and we had a nice trade on it, so pretty happy about that. Yeah, really, really nice setup on OVID. OCGN moving sideways. It's holding above VWAP now, but it's just, I don't know. I probably wouldn't trust taking the trade on this over 13 after all of this selling here, coming down through 7 o'clock on high volume. So keep an eye on it, but I'm not super excited about it. ERXC actually looking okay, but again, this is one that's just it's been a grinder. It hasn't pulled back a ton, but um, each one of these 1 minute candles is making it's like 10-cent moves. So this is one that going to take a while to reclaim the high, most likely, and also when it does, I don't expect a huge move over the high. But probably more willing to take on a trade on this than anything else at the moment, seeing as OVID has pulled back pretty significantly. So yeah, the ideal trade to take here on TRXC was probably on this break over $5.20, the 5 minute, or if you wanted to get in a little early, the break on the 5 minute over 514 here, which we obviously didn't end up taking. So if I was going to try to get in on this, I'd like a little bit more of a setup since it's just pushing up through 530 now. But this is kind of the way this stock has been acting, where it's just very short, very small range on all of the 1 minutes, and then, but just generally good movement. A couple more things popping up on the scanners right now. Just check them out. Lighter volume popped up, pulled back a bit. ADMA, no, this looks terrible. OTH. So this popped up maybe late last week, early this week, but didn't really do much. You can see here it popped from 160 to a high of $3. It's a pretty nice move. But yeah, here's the times that I was looking at it where it popped up, but the moves that it made pretty much got entirely pulled back. So I would say I'm not in love with this. See how it ends up moving, but if it pops up on the scanners maybe a couple more times, then think about taking a trade on it. YVR actually just popped up again. A little bit more volume, so maybe as we push up here, I'll take a trade on this. Seem to have some nice volume coming in on it. So we'll see if we can get a pullback. So trying to buy some shares here as it pulled back through down to 220, but I only got filled on 5 shares. So definitely not ideal. Yeah, I like this. I like this increasing volume coming in. So we'd like to see this next 1 minute candle to have nice volume here and break over this pre-market high. And then if we start breaking over the pre-market high, then I'll buy some more shares of this. But yeah, I need to see that volume coming in. And then yeah, we're probably gonna pull out like down like 210 here. So I currently have 5 shares. This is like also the problem, like what I was talking about yesterday with the problem with TD, where it's like when I hit buy on the bid, it's only the bid, so I can't say like bid plus 5 cents. So since I was literally just sitting on the bid and there was probably a bunch of people in front of me, I just didn't get filled for my shares. So, but it seems to be pulling back a little bit now. Maybe better that we didn't get filled with a ton of shares. As we were talking though, OCGN just went off, dude. So maybe better time to look at that. We missed the obvious entry on it. So my VR over there. Hold my 5 shares on it just because it's not too bad. But so for OCGN, I was saying before where we could have bought up through 13, but I'm also a little afraid of this stock because of this huge 5-minute red candle that I put in here. But this current 5-minute candle just put in a even greater volume green candle here, so that looks good. That is looking better for us. So maybe on the push up through 1350 the next time it comes up is the place to buy. It would be nice if we got like maybe a little 5-minute. No, you haven't really missed very much. I tried to take a trade on YVR, but it's like pulling back now. Yeah, see. I tried to take a trade on YVR, and I tried to buy in the bid to get some shares down here with the expectation they'll pop up like on the pullback, and I got filled with 5 shares, so I'm just gonna sell them off here. I was just holding them just in case it did start moving up again, so at least I have a tiny bit of a position I could buy off of when it came up. OCGN started moving up again, but I didn't buy it because I was looking at YVR. But like I was saying, like the obvious place to buy was on this break over 1288 and the push up through 13. We have really nice volume on this previous 5-minute candle, so I think OCGN is actually looking really nice right now. New 5-minute candle here. I would like for maybe a little bit of a pullback since we had such a big move. We had 4 5-minute green candles in a row. So I think it would be safer if we pulled back a little bit and then made a new 5-minute candle high as we pushed up to 14, which is the pre-market high. But we'll see what it ends up doing here. If it pushes above 1350 here, probably just have to buy some and see what happens. So this current 5-minute candle is pulling back, but on significantly lighter volume than the last candle did. That's definitely good news for us. Good news. This might be worth it to try to take a dip here off $13. If we expect this 5-minute candle, this next 5-minute candle is going to be looking nice. But I'm probably going to wait for volume to start coming back into this. Like I said, this is kind of what I wanted. A little bit of a pullback on the 5-minute. It'd be nice if we held down a little bit here closer to 13, and then the next 5-minute candle we could get a nice solid break, up through this high, which is 1330 right now. So we'll see what ends up happening. Like I said, though, doesn't always do what you want. So if it starts pushing up immediately here, we'll probably just buy some shares, with the expectation that it'll push back up to the pre-market high of $14. 2 minutes left on this 5-minute candle. An ATIF pop up on the scanners, but really not making much movement, so probably not going to take a trade on that. YVR has pulled back completely. OVID is still kind of moving sideways under VWAP, so yeah, I feel like OCGN kind of the one to watch right now. Let's see, TRXC also pulling back. We looked at that earlier today, and then KMPH also pulling back a little bit. So yeah, OCGN probably the one to watch at the moment. Just push down through 13. We'll see if it holds up, or if it holds below 13, or pops back up. So if it pops back up above 13, maybe buy some shares here. We don't want it to hold below 13 though. It seems to be holding below 13. Yeah, so now on this 5-minute candle, it's pretty much pulled back the entire move that the previous green candle made, and it's done it on a lighter volume, which, I mean, it's not really what you want to see. You want to see people like trying to buy it up. So the fact that it pushed the same amount, made the same move but on lighter volume, means no one's trying to buy it up right now. And the people that are selling, there's just no orders on the bid here, and it's just getting pushed down. So new 5-minute candle, but let's say I don't have super high hopes for this right now. Like the 5-minute place to buy would be at 13.30, so it's like 50 cents away currently. And if this 5-minute candle makes a 50-cent move, that's already a pretty big move. So yeah, I don't love it. You could take a buy on the 1-minute setup here, which is the push over $13, but I think it's just pulled back too much to take a trade on a 1-minute setup at the moment. So I don't love that. Oh, did it come out with more news at 8 o'clock? It's just more COVID vaccine stuff. Yeah, more COVID. 81% efficacy. I feel like that isn't that much. I feel like I'd want my vaccine to have a higher efficacy rate than that. So I don't know about that. I don't know
Yeah,
about
I
that
think some of
news.
the other ones have like 90 plus.
What you say?
I think some of the other ones are like 90 plus.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so why is this popping up? It's trash. Trash efficacy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we watching now. If you know OCGN starts putting in some nicer looking candles, I'll take a trade on it. Otherwise, probably just gonna have to let it sit for the moment since it seems to be pushing back down towards view up. Um, TRXC still moving sideways here. Check out the 5-minute. Yeah, it's not great. Just a lot of sideways movement here. TRXC, OVID also just moving sideways. Everything's just kind of just going sideways right now. RKT still going straight down. GME, absolutely no volume, not really doing anything. Other stuff that's on watch. There was SLGG. Yeah, it's pulled back quite a bit. It's, just hovering around view up right now. I don't love the movement of this stock. I probably wouldn't take a trade on it even if it pushed back up to the high. I mean, it's just made a nice move here, completely pulled back everything, and then really big volume coming in at 7 o'clock, which, this could have been like a single person to push it back into the movement here, and then it's just been choppy, choppy, choppy. So yeah, I don't think I would take a trade on that. OCGN just pulled back to VWAP. OVID pulled back below VWAP. Yeah, it's just time to be patient. You gotta wait for the next setup. So you don't want to, you don't want to be sitting here and being like, oh, I miss these moves. I gotta make some trades here. I gotta make some money. Like you can only make as much money as the market, gives you the chance to make. You can't just like create opportunity by buying and selling because you're probably just gonna end up losing money if you don't have a decent setup. Um, and nothing right now is looking very good to me. TRXC just pushed back up to 540 here, but it also has been very choppy in the last like 30 minutes. So, not loving it. Um, some of the highest volume candles previously today were red candles, so I also don't love the look of that. Um, we'll see on this breakout above 541 how it does here. If it makes this breakout and then holds up, maybe on the next, next line of resistance here, we can try to buy going into it. On the daily chart, so yeah, 550 looking like a little bit of resistance here. So like what we're pushing into right now. And after that, though, it looks like there's not really too much until $6. And then in the $6 to $7 region, in the last few weeks, we put in a few candles that bounced off some stuff and then pulled back. So if we were going to take a trade on this, maybe if it comes back down, gives us a good setup back over 550, and then our target price to sell would be $6. So could be decent. But I wouldn't expect this thing to start going through the roof unless, we we see a lot more volume coming into it. Yeah, we've seen more volume earlier in the day, and you see it just bounced off this 550 level. So breakout from 541 to 548, 7 cents, and then it pulled back, 16. So I would say it's not looking too great right now, but we'll at least keep it on the charts here. We'll keep watching it. I don't love the way these 5-minute candles have been, where it's just like breakout, pulled back, breakout, pulled back. Yeah, it's just been a little choppy for my taste. I'd like to see something, either something new pop up, since a lot of these things have had pretty choppy volume now, which is unfortunate. So you always kind of got to be careful now. So it's like when you're buying, if you buy on OVID for the push through 556, all of a sudden your downside is going to be $5. So you have to be able to hold 50 cents of loss before you're even outside of the range that is like acceptable as a trend. Just because of how much pulling back this has done. So it's the same thing with TRXC. This last 5-minute candle moved from 514 up to 548. So if we buy coming up to 550 now, technically, as long as it's staying above 510, which is a 40-cent dip, we're still looking okay because we're still enclosed by this green candle. I guess you can keep the stop tighter and hold to the previous pre-market high, which is 541 here. But I just don't love the massive potential downside while you're still staying in a trend for right now it's like the potential downside is like 40 or 50 cents, and the potential upside in my eyes is up to just above $6, just because of previous resistance that we've seen. So a 1-to-1 profit to loss ratio is not great. But as I'm saying this, it is popping up here, so could be something some people are taking a trade on. And like I said, like if it does start moving up and it does have nice increasing volume, then it is still definitely something to take the trade on here. But I want to see some more volume coming in. And we are getting some volume coming in, but oh Christ. A little bit too much red volume for my taste on that last candle. Anyone in the chat who wants to follow along with the stocks that I'm trading and stuff, if you check out oliveguardians.com, this is where I host the scanners that I use. Um, you can hit the menu. You can see the different scanners we have here: low float, medium float, high float stocks. So if you're focusing on trading, like one set of those, you can just look at them individually. I usually look at anything that's been moving above 25%. So those are like the most actively traded stocks, and the stocks that people are going to be looking at when they start trading. Like when institutional traders start coming in between 8 and 9, or when Robinhood traders come in at 9 o'clock or whatever. So I'm usually looking at that, and then the movers, which is anything that's moved up more than 8% in the last 5 minutes, and has sufficient volume. So I think I currently check to see if it has over 50,000 shares of volume traded on the day. I might up that to like 100,000 because I feel like we do hit some false positives sometimes on things that popped up, and it's really just like one person buying a load of the stock and really moves just because it's not very well traded. But yeah, so these are things that in my eyes, are the things that are being actively traded, things that are coming up on news, stuff like that. And mostly you'll see lower float stocks here because lower float stocks are really going to be the only stocks that are making really big moves like that, unless like there's crazy news on something. But yeah, so check it out. And if you guys have any like critiques, or you think I should put different criteria for scanners up there, we already have a few other ideas that we're going to try to push in over the course of the next month. But yeah, just let me know if you think there's anything else that would look nicer on this page here. TRXC still moving up, but again, it's just I don't know. To me, the potential profit is not worth how long I'd have to hold down to the lows. Because even now, just double topped at 564 here, and if I was buying into the breakout of 564, I'd have to be willing to hold down to 532 now. And still, I think that unless we have a lot more buyers coming in, there's a bunch of resistance between $6 and $7 on the daily chart. So yeah, it's just ratio is not there for me to want to buy in on this at the moment. But if it goes up to $6, starts popping off, people are buying it, blows through its previous resistance, then I'm in. Not really too much popping up on the scanners at the moment. Really in the last 20 minutes, the only thing that's popped up that might have looked good was YVR. YVR ended up pulling back. It's pulling back its entire move here. It popped up to 235. I tried to take a dip trade on it here at 220, with the expectation that we might get a push up back through 235 and then push to the high of days, or the high of day. But yeah, it just came down here and sold off. So I only got filled with a very small number of shares anyway, so I just sold as it came down through VWAP here. And now it's pulled back pretty much the entirety of its move. So it's unfortunate. If it starts coming up again, though, maybe we'll take a trade on it, but we'll have to see. GME, Rocket's pulled back even further now. God, it made such a nice move yesterday. I was saying earlier where it's like on this move, it pushed up pretty much straight from 28 to 42. And then when it sold off here at 42, it sold off so hard it halted. It halted down, right? Opened down further, sold off some more, and then recovered the entire move back up to 42. Immediately halted down again. So this thing halted down twice and still closed higher than where it halted. So I mean, definitely a lot of people buying up this stock. I think this is something to watch today as we come into the open. Since I know Wall Street Bets is all over it, so this might be the hype stock to buy out the gates. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it as we come closer to the open. But right now it's just kind of chilling. Not really too much going on with it. SLGG popped up earlier today, pulled back even further now, so I'm definitely not interested in that. OVID we already have up. OVID over here, it's just been moving sideways, holding under view up. And we got TRXC, which is what I was talking about earlier, where the potential upside to this is not worth the potential downside at the moment for me. So we start consolidating a little more on these 5-minute candles. So like now this 5-minute low is 540, and the breakout point would be 564. So now we're getting closer to this ratio that I'm looking for, where our potential downside if we buy going up into 564 and we maybe get filled at between 555 and 560. Now we're looking at our potential downside only being like 15 cents as opposed to the 50 cents that it was at one point this morning. But yeah, it'd be nice if this does push down, and we start putting in a few more, consolidation candles here, and then as we push up through one of these highs, we can get a nice, nice cost basis with a nice potential downside, and if we're thinking our potential upside is $6, or between $6 and $6.50, then yeah, if we're only risking 15 cents, then it might be worth it there. OCGN still over here on watch. Pushed up here, on really good volume. Has had decreasing volume coming down. Just put in a new 5-minute candle high. So this might be one to buy over 13. Yeah, this might be one to buy over 13 here. And then, so even if we bought at 13 here, we'd still have to hold down to at least VWAP as our bailout point, which is at this point 30 cents down. But the potential upside of this stock is us pushing up through the high of days here, which is $14. So 30 cent potential loss versus over $1 potential gain. I think that's looking all right. And I'd probably buy this if I was going to buy this when it's coming up through 13 on with a lower share size, since it is a higher price stock. But still, this one has also been really choppy. Had sold off completely here at 7 o'clock. So kind of one to be careful about. We got 8:30 coming up in 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes now. So maybe we'll see some new news come out on something at 8:30, or just have a few things on watch, and maybe we'll see some volume coming into one of them. Yeah, just hopefully we have something popping up at 8:30 here that we could take a trade on. As I was saying before, I mean, it's times like this you just gotta be patient. There was some nice momentum this morning. It might come back into the market, between now and the open. So just gotta have all those charts up, watching them, make sure you catch anything that starts moving. This is also something I want to do with the scanners, because currently my movers scanner, it's anything that's moved up more than 8%, but it's also after it's moved up more than 8%, the price needs to be at a new high. So a lot of these things that have pushed up, like OCGN, and then pulled back, um, if it starts just going crazy here and moves up like 10%, which is like, over $1, if it hasn't moved up past that $14 mark yet, which is like the current pre-market high, then it won't show up on my mover scanner. So I might make a separate mover scanner that doesn't have the requirement of making a previous high. Um, the reason I did that is because I have looked at it before without that previous high requirement, and it gets a lot more cluttered. Like a lot more things trigger it, especially with these low float stocks. They'll like very frequently pull back, you know, 15% and then immediately buy it back up, and it'll trigger every single time it does that. So, yeah, I might end up doing that in the future. We'll see what happens. Right now, we just gotta have the charts up. Gotta be watching. At least, gotta be watching these stocks that have popped up earlier today, because they're not gonna re-pop up on the movers chart until they start making highs. And we got 5 seconds. See at 8:30 if anything pops up here. Little buying coming into OCGN. We'll see if that continues. TRXC kind of just chilling. Not really anything going on with it. TRXC like halted or something? Oh no, it's just absolutely no volume in the beginning of that candle. We'll see if TRXC starts pushing up again here. Yeah, besides that, I mean, it doesn't look like anything really popped up here at 8:30, unfortunately. I was hoping for maybe a new stock with news or, volume coming into one of these. I know OCGN has been traded before, so I think a lot of people are familiar with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if as we get closer to 9, OCGN being the one that starts popping up. Got SONM just popped up on the scanner, but low price stock, low volume, so I don't think this is anything worth looking at the moment. I mean, if it continues to make moves up, then maybe we'll do something with it. But yeah, right now this just is dead. This is the scenario that I was talking about, where like this 40,000 share buy right here is probably just like one single person who did this, and it ended up moving 12% just from that one person buying it up. So it's like a false positive on the scanner, but I mean, we're always going to have a few of those. If you make the criteria too tight, then you're going to miss opportunities. Yeah, I mean, today definitely has had way more moves than like the last week and a half. If you just look at like anything that's moved above 25%, we have KMPH, which happened earlier this morning, which is unfortunate, but it's moved up 74%. OVID has moved up nearly 85%. So I mean, those two moves alone have been better than what we've seen 90% of days in the last week and a half. Besides like GameStop and RKT, that have just kind of been like meme stocks though. But yeah, as far as low float momentum, it's today's been pretty good. But yeah, a lot of that momentum happened prior to when I started streaming, unfortunately. But I did take one trade. I took 2 trades. I took a trade on YVR and I took a trade on OVID. Tell you, hey, what's going on, Tom? I was telling Aaron the other day, I was like, I haven't seen you stream in a minute, man. I also like that stock. Oh, Carl, nice. You took KMPH. Did you take it at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern, or did you take it like earlier this morning? Because I definitely was not awake for the first move that it made. KMPH here. KMPH, yeah, so KMPH made a nice move, very early in the morning up here, pulled back completely, but then at 7 o'clock made another nice move, from $15 here all the way up to a high of 17.50. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was a nice move. Um, like I said, with the kind of the problems with the movers thing that I have, so it's like um, it'll track this move here, and it'll look for the high of day, and then if this doesn't pass the high of day, it won't get pinged on the mover scanner that I have. So I wasn't actively watching it as this was pushing up, and it didn't pop up on my scanners, so I unfortunately did not see the move. But yeah, I mean, like, really nice move here. Yeah, if you bought at 703 and sold at 706, we're in somewhere in 16 and sold somewhere in 17, which we definitely take this. Really good. OCGN. Yeah, kind of just moving sideways. This is the one that I was saying where it's like we had a ton of selling up in the $14 area, so we need like a lot more volume coming in for me to want to take a trade on this, especially since we had some choppiness down here even after we sold off. So yeah, I'd like to see a clearer move on this before I'm willing to take a trade on it. TRXC also been kind of choppy. It had a really nice move here from $4 up to $5.50 with almost no pullback. So if you bought into this going up, there was like no risk. You could just keep on holding it forever, and it was looking good. But then once it dropped down the first time, kind of got a little choppy down here. A few false breakouts on the 5-minute candles. This had nice volume, nice move coming into it. But even after it broke its high of day, it went from 540 up to 564, so 23-cent move above the high of day, and then has pulled back quite a bit. So, and then I was looking on the daily chart, and on the daily chart we got some, a decent amount of resistance between, what's it called, 6 and 7. So, if you are buying for this break above 564, your price target is probably going to want to be in that region. So if we look on the day, so 550, some resistance, $6, just over $6, some resistance here. So this is the previous high green candle on the daily. But then after this resistance at 6, we also have resistance 650, 658, and then coming up into 7. So a lot of candles here that pushed up through 6 and then pulled back to the low 6s here. So something to be aware of when you're looking at these stocks, where it's like if you want to hold through, if you want to take a 5-minute setup, as it pushed up here up to 550, and you want to buy for this next 5-minute candle that breaks 550, until you see a trend reversal, you have to hold down till 510. Right, so it's like a 40 cent hold you're gonna have to do. You might be able to shed some shares off, earlier if you wanted to, but I mean, if you want to hold your full position, that's how far you have to hold down. And then if we're looking at a move up through 550, we're only looking at our first price target is about 50 cents as well. So the price target and the potential loss being the same, with a lot more resistance above the price target on the daily recently, is definitely not what you want to see going into trying to buy some of these stocks. So on the daily, what you would want to see, if you look at the daily chart, being on the all-time highs is really good. That means that there's essentially, no mental resistance above you, or no bag holders above you, like people who bought a long time ago and have just been holding, waiting for it to pop back up to sell again. So if you look at like TRXC in the daily, there are people who bought up here at $6.94. held all the way down to $3.50, and now that it's back up close to 6, they're like, I gotta bail out. I'm so close to break even. Like now is the time that I have to sell because if this thing drops down again, like I don't want to be caught holding the bag twice. So if you're at all time highs, then you don't really have that issue because no one has ever bought at that price before. So you either want to see that or you want to see like larger periods of so like as it was coming up through here, if it dipped down here before, there wasn't a ton of resistance if it immediately pushed back up. But like now that we've pushed below this level, there was resistance for these peaks further back that it had to push through. As you can see, it even bounced off of one of those here and then pulled all the way back down to below $4. So you want to see as minimal action in like tight periods that you're thinking of trading. So yeah, this trade up through 435 to 550, not a ton of resistance on the daily chart, so that actually looks pretty good. And you could see if you move over to the 5-minute chart now, like when it did break over 550, it pulled back a little bit, but then as soon as it held over it, it was a pretty clear move straight up to 550. So if you just like look at the daily chart, like you can see that makes sense. And that's the kind of thing that you want to see so you can establish your price targets. So you could see, and it's like a lot of people do that, so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like the more people that do it, the more true that it is. So since people are doing it, you know that you can at least rely on it like a little bit. And if you're not, even if you're not going to take off like your whole position, and you want to wait to see if it'll move higher, you can at least like take off half a position, and then if it does bounce off of it and starts pulling back down, then you have a little less risk on the way down. And then if you do see it push back up, you could buy your position. He halted. Really? I didn't even see it pop up. Let's check it out. Whoa. Halted. If this thing halted on like the lightest volume in existence. Yeah, look at this. It got bought up. It moved, I don't even know what, like 10% or something on like 2,500 shares of volume. Oh, it's halted pending news. All right. Well, if it does start moving up, the scanners will definitely pick it up. So I'm not gonna spend too much time looking at it. Kind of keep some of these other stocks that we've been looking at on watch here. Unfortunately, OCGN, pulling back now. This is kind of why I didn't want to take the trade on it, as it pushed up, because we saw a lot of selling off happening close to that $14 level. And if I was going to take a trade on it up through $14, I definitely wanted to. I wanted to see a lot of increasing volume, and I wanted to see it hold its level. So we had increasing volume on this 5-minute, coming into it. I would have liked to have seen this. This 5-minute red candle was about 60% of the volume of the green candle, but it pulled back nearly the entire move, which is not what you want to see. If you see something coming down on low volume, you want to see people buying into it and buying up the dip. So, with this amount of volume compared to this green candle, I would have liked to see this red candle maybe half as large. And then that kind of makes me believe that people are trying to buy the dip. And then if it came up and pushed through 1350, then I would buy for the expectation to go back to the high of days, but high of day. But yeah, pulled back quite a lot. I was thinking about taking a dip trade off 13, then I saw the volume and everything, and I kind of decided against it. And then it seemed like it ended up being a good idea because we're pulling back quite a bit now and holding below view up. Yeah, I would definitely hold off at least until you see some more volume coming in on OCGN. But yeah, NNVC yesterday. Did that thing tank at the open? I feel like it didn't end up going so well. Let's see here. Yeah, so NNVC made a really nice move, between 7:10 and 7:30. and then just kept pulling back into the open, and then just sold off. There was this small period where it spiked, but then it immediately sold off. Was this? Did it get halted here as it moved up? No, it couldn't have. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, man, that's crazy. A lot of really nice green volume. I could see a lot of people getting trapped here. So this is kind of what I was saying before too, where it came up on really nice green volume, and then it hit this point, and if you look back, you see a bunch of people probably bought up here in this $9 to 9.60 area, and then it pulled back, and they're just holding here, waiting for it to get back up so they can break even. So it tanked at the open. People are like, "Oh my god, it's definitely not good." I'm now holding $1.50 down from where my position started, $2 down. This thing spikes up $1.50, and then everyone's like, "Oh, thank God, I have an opportunity to bail out now." So you just see that sell off. Yeah. So, um, what you want to see, if you want to see a pre-market mover, coming into the open and be strong, you want to see it buying into the open. When you see stuff buying or selling off into the open, that's definitely not a good sign, especially if it's holding below VWAP. Like, yeah, it's really not good. If you want to be confident about something coming into the open, you want it to gap up. Maybe have a good pullback at some point, and then as it comes into the open, like if we see OCGN coming into the open and increasing volume starting at 9 o'clock, it pushes up through 1350, and then it's like pushing up through the high of day as it comes into the open. That would be really, really nice. Yeah, OVID popping up a little bit here. So let's get it on the 5-minute chart. Yeah, so OVID made a nice move this morning, but it's just kind of been trading sideways. And I also don't love that, like the red volume has been essentially equal to the green volume in a lot of these. And a lot of the times it's been trying to make a breakout here. So made a breakout, so first one made a breakout, pulled back, made a breakout, pulled back, breakout, pulled back, breakout, pulled back. So on these 5-minute candles, just every single time we see this breakout, it's just pulling it all the way back. Yeah, and I know that there are people there who like trade on like the 1-minute candles, like, and it's like they get a breakout, buy into the breakout, and then pretty much immediately sell it off, very, very quickly. And I'll do that if something is like more volatile. I don't think the volatility in this is sufficient for me to want to take trades like that. Um, yeah, and I know there's some people who are like trading on like 10-second charts and stuff where they're like, they see like the tiniest little pullback and then they're like, I think it'll go back up after this, and then they buy that pullback and then try to catch like 10-cent moves or something, which I'm not trying to do. I think with TD it's very difficult to catch smaller moves just because of the execution speed and how hard it is to get orders filled. Like if you're looking for like a really small volatile move, you could try to buy on the bid on a dip, and if you don't have any bid plus some amount of cents, right? In TD, where it's just like you can only sit on the bid, like you might only get filled for a very small portion of what you wanted to take on it, and then it just ends up being useless. If you make like like $5 on it with the potential downside of the same thing, it's just, yeah, I don't love it. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. When you have to wait for your cash to settle, it's like nearly impossible, right? It's just like if you want to take like if you want to try to take like a few like scalp trades and you're trying to get like small movements, like you could just burn all of your cash for like like a 10% move, and then you have to wait 3 days or whatever before you can take another trade. Did I say 10%? 10%? I meant 10-cent move. So it's just like, yeah, it's just not worth it. Still just chilling right now. I mean, pretty much nothing good has hit the scanners in the last 45 minutes. So really not much to do at the moment. For anyone new in the chat, um, check out oliveguardians.com. Got scanners set up there. I look at stuff that's been moving up more than 25%, which is pretty much anything that's been actively traded in, that's lower float in the morning. So this is where I'm getting all of the. So when I wake up, this is where I get all the stocks that I look at that have made a move already. And then I have my movers down here, which anything that's moved up more than 8% in the last 5 minutes. So yeah, it's just like things that are being actively traded, and more than likely are low float stocks. They're going to make bigger moves. So yeah, if you guys have any critiques or anything on it, just let me know. Or any criteria you want for scanners, or what have you. So yeah, check it out, allguardians.com. Yeah, you are right. Nothing more than 2.5% in the last 5 minutes. Sounds about right. Everything's just been moving sideways. TRXC. So on TRXC, this is kind of what I was talking about, where it was like, if I wanted to buy for this break above 550, I would have had to buy and held down until 514. But then once we put in this low, I probably would have cut the low to like 530. So it's just like, even so, I mean, 15-cent downside for what we ended up getting up to, which was 13% up, or 13-cent upside. And I think like the maximum upside I could have seen was up to 6 to 625. Rocket Socks, thanks for following, bro. I really appreciate it. Come check out the stream. Use oliveguardians.com if you want. Have it running all day, so you could just, even if I'm not here, you could check the stocks that are moving throughout the day and stuff. Really appreciate the follow, though. And yeah, so TRXC now is just, pulled back completely, so I don't foresee this coming back up before the open. It's pulled back down below VWAP on, higher volume than you want to see here. Even though the highest volume candle so far was a green candle, it was just barely green. So it's just not the best here volume wise. So another one that just bit the dust. So now we still have hopes OVID could potentially start making a move up. But again, the volume on this too, highest volume of the day almost here on a green candle, immediately pulled it back on the same amount of volume on a red candle. So it's just not spectacular. And then OCGN kind of just moving sideways below VWAP right now. So I use the bongos for the trading on TD. So I have them set up for the hotkeys. The left side, so there's 4 buttons on each bongo, 2 buttons on each. So 2 buttons on each individual bongo itself. So the lower one on the left side is for buying on the bid. This is buy on the ask. This is buy for market. So after the market opens. And then there's a button in the middle, the start button, which cancels any of my pending orders. So if I do, try to buy in the bid or something and don't get filled, I can immediately cancel the order. And then my bongo over here is my selling bongo, which is the same. So it's selling on the bid, selling on the ask, and then sell market with a cancel button in the middle. So, essentially just swap them out for hotkeys, which there aren't like a ton of sophisticated hotkeys in TD Ameritrade or on Thinkorswim. So like literally swapping out the hotkeys for the bongos, like I don't think I lose any functionality. It's pretty much exactly the same as if I'd be using the hotkeys anyway. So you are right. This is the pinnacle of technology. Everything in the world has been leading up into this moment where I could plug bongos into my computer and use them to trade stocks. It's pretty much the best. So yeah, just more time to be patient here. I know I've said that a lot this morning, but uh, isn't really too much going on. The market was looking like at 7 o'clock this morning. I was like super hype because 7 o'clock rolled around and three or four stocks came up. OVID being one of them, SLGG, TRXC, and OCGN all started popping up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, all right, we're seeing some momentum coming in here. Stuff's really looking good. And then I was hoping for some follow through throughout the morning, but even though we had a whole bunch of stocks pop up earlier, OVID here starting at 7 o'clock made a really nice move. OCGN starting at 6:30, I guess, pulled back a little bit, and then coming into 7 o'clock made a really nice move. It sold off a bit at 7 o'clock, which was unfortunate. Um, TRXC making an awesome move at 7 o'clock. So all these moves were really great. So when I sat down to start the stream, I was like, nice. Hopefully we see some follow through on some of these, get some momentum going. But unfortunately, we haven't gotten too much. The one trade that we did make after 7:30 here was on OVID. After it pushed up here through VWAP, came back down, tapped VWAP, and pushed back up. We bought coming through 5:30. We bought some more shares coming up through 570 for this next break on the 1 minute. And then we sold off most of them between 580 and 610. So I think I sold some at 580, like a third of my position. A third of my position above $6, like 605, as it was coming up through for the break of the high of day. And then as it pushed back down here, as it pushed through 590, I sold the rest of my position off. With the expectation where if I sold off, if I sold off coming down through 590 on the 1 minute here, we could potentially, buy back in as it pushed through 6 if it was looking stronger. But it just kind of folded over, so didn't get the opportunity to buy back in. And then I bought a position on what was it called, YVR as well. I tried to, as it was coming up, I was like a little bit more optimistic about the market this morning when this popped up. And then it pulled back to 220. It came to 235, pulled back to 220. Tried to take a dip trade on 220, hoping that it would come back up through 235, and then it just sold off down through VWAP and hasn't really come up. Yeah, you can't subscribe and the site is free. I have a job that I have to go to, unfortunately, which is how I afford the bongos and the banana suit. Yeah, if you have any ideas about the site too, or if you want to see any kind of scanners up there with different criteria than what I put up, drop me a message, tell me what you want to see, and I could probably make it happen. As long as it's not too complex. Yeah, just a disclaimer on that one. TRXC seems to be trying to make a move back up here to VWAP, but I don't see this, like, just at how slow it was moving up. Even when it had such solid green volume, it still took, over the course of 25 minutes to get from $4 to $5. So I don't know, unless there's a lot of increasing volume coming into this, because that there are going to be people holding from 564 as well. So unless we see like a lot of increasing green volume coming into this, I really doubt that we're going to get an opportunity to take a trade on it before the open. That's what I was going for, Rocket Sox. The people come for the banana suit, and then they stay for all the other stuff. Me talking about random stocks. Yeah, SLGG. So the thing that I'm kind of afraid of with SLGG, like, it made such a big move here. It sold off half of it within the first 5-minute candle that it made the move. And then when it did push up, like, even when it did push up here, it was kind of choppy. And then all the way down, it just dropped completely. And then At 7 o'clock when this popped up, I have a feeling that this was due to maybe like one individual seller or buyer buying like like a big amount of this, which then a few other people followed or whatever, like bots followed, people followed and picked up on it. But the fact that it was so choppy after this candle leads me to believe that there wasn't a lot of like other people buying into it. And then we saw some more volume coming in at 7:30, but it immediately sold off. So I don't love the way this stock has been acting. Yeah, especially with all the choppiness. So unless we start getting like a nicer move up here, closer to 6, then I probably won't end up taking a trade on this. Um, Also, Rocket Stocks, I'm fairly new to trading as well. But it's this is like kind of like a learning experience for all of us here. I think streaming has definitely been helping me. Helping me like solidify like all of the things that I've seen other people do, and like as I'm sitting here talking about all of the things that I should be looking at, it's like reinforcing good habits in me. So hopefully, you guys watching and me saying the same stuff over and over again will help reinforce your habits as well. Dude, I'm trying to get to the moon myself, man. I've bought into GME several times, and it's been all right. But I really want to see GME pop off again. I think that would be sick. Nice. Yeah, man. I say like watch as many people as you can. I watch like a ton of people on YouTube. Subscribe to, just trying to get as much different outlooks on stocks as I can. Um, just so it's like there might be some indicator that one of these people uses that someone else does, and if that indicator could help you even like one time to know that like, oh, actually because I see this, maybe this isn't a stock that I want to trade, maybe because of the way the volume is, or the choppiness, we're seeing false breakouts on KMPH on the 1 minute, like maybe yeah. So if you can even find like one piece of information from any of these traders that can help you do that, I think it's definitely worth it. Watch as many people as you can, man. Yeah, I feel you, Rocket Sox. I get it. Dude, I was actually thinking about that. I was like, oh, it'd be sick if I got one of those suits. KMPH here. KMPH is going off right now. So we are looking good on the 1 minute. Um, so on the 5 minute over here, we're still quite a ways below the high of day here on KMPH. Um, so I'd be kind of worried now that we just made this break over view up. I'd want to see it like come back down and retest view up before I took a trade on this, or at least have some considerable pullback, since it's such a high price stock. Um, yeah, it did break the 7 a.m. high. You are right here, but just for the period of time that was consolidating under view up, I'd like it to come down and retest it. Or yeah, or at least come down and make like a decent pullback before I buy into this. We are seeing greatly increased volume though, which is good to see. Yeah, I was thinking about like the VTuber people. I was like, I should get a suit, and then I should get a Donkey Kong avatar, and then like just have like VTuber bongos, and I could just pretend to be Donkey Kong and just hit the bongos to trade. I thought it'd be sick. Fortunately, I don't know if or when I will ever do. Yeah, I mean, we are looking really nice. I'm just, at this point, even on the 1 minute, if I buy here, I have to hold down to like, $17 if there's going to be a pullback. Um, so I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback before I buy into this. Especially seeing as there was a bunch of buying, up at, past 20 today. So we're still quite a ways away from the previous high of the morning. But I know that there's some people who will definitely take this trade on it. The 1 minute breakout over 1770 with the expectation of moving up to $18 here. But I would like to see a little bit of a pullback because I like when my like my risk reward ratio is 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So if I'm sitting here trying to take this 1 minute breakout, if I was gonna wait for a trend break to happen, it would have to come all the way down to $17, and from 1770 to $17 is like a 70-cent pullback. So we saw a little bit of a pullback here down to 1727. It spiked down, not for long enough for me to take any shares on this. But yeah, like I was saying, like if I was gonna wait for like a 70-cent pullback, then I'd want my potential gain here to be at least $1.50 probably. But we're seeing some resistance here on the 5 minute chart, back at 1870 or even 1850, which at the point that we would have bought from, which is around 1770, is only about 80 cents. So we're closer to that 1-to-1 profit loss ratio, which is not really what I want. Definitely not what I'm looking for. So now as we're coming down here on the 1 minute, so we just started a new 5 minute candle. So we'll see what this 5 minute candle does. If the 5 minute candle comes down and breaks through 1690, that's not good. But as long as it's holding above 1690, I think we're still looking all right. Yeah, so it just bounced off of the whatever 50 moving average for the 5 minute candles. We'll see if it actually holds true to that level. And now on the 1 minute, if we come up and we're breaking through 1740, I'd be much willing to take a trade on the 1 minute because now our potential downside is 1706, from 1740. So we're looking at like a 35% or 35-cent potential downside, and then our upside we are potentially looking at back up to 1850 or thereabouts, which is much nicer than what we were looking at before. Decreasing volume on these red candles, which is good to see. So if we push back up here through 1740, maybe I'll take a small starter position just because this is a higher priced stock, so I'm not going to take a huge position on this. Ideally, we'd wait for a 5 minute setup and then get the 5 minute break over 1766. And even though we do have more potential downside if we're doing that, 5 minute setups are usually a little bit more likely to pan out. And on the scanner, SLGG just popped up, so let's check out what's going on with that. Yeah, so we missed this move on SLGG, and it's pushing towards the pre-market high right now, which is looking really good. But now it's, again, now it's looking a little extended on the 5 minute since we just put in 5 green candles in a row on SLGG. So if we see a nice little pullback here and then another push through 580, it just bounced off 580, which is the pre-market high. Yeah, so waiting for the 5 minute on the SLGG would probably be what I want to do. But, I mean, this thing might go off without us here, depending on how the volume's coming in. So now we're putting in a little bit of a green candle on KMPH. So now the buying point would be 1720, and the selling point 1720 on the 1 minute breakout. With only 2 minutes left on this 5 minute candle, I think that this would be a good entry point here if we push over 1720, and then our low would be $17, so about 20-cent potential loss here. So I'm going to buy a few shares coming up through 1720, and then we hold down to $17. And like I said, taking a small amount of shares here. If we push back up through 1780, or I guess on the 5 minute, we got 1740, then I'll buy some more shares. But otherwise, I'm just holding small share size down here, and I'll sell it off if we drop below $17. Yeah, so I think KMPH is making a much better setup right now. Oh, we just dropped below $17. All right, so let's see if we pop up here if we're gonna hold. So taking off my position. Yeah. So it looks like we're holding below it. So that happens sometimes, and it might bounce off VWAP here and immediately rebound up. But you got to sell off your position if you have a point that you're going to sell it off at. Like you just have to, if you make a decision and if it drops below that point, you have to sell it off. So now we're seeing here it drop below 17, which I think is probably a lot of people were. Oh, COHN. I know you said UWMC, but COHN just going off right now, but on very low share size. They just come out with earnings? No, I don't know why it's going off right now. They had earnings, but it was released at 8 o'clock this morning, so why is it going crazy right now? Okay, and SLGG seems to have pulled back, so it's probably a good idea we didn't take a trade on that. UWMC is looking alright. Yeah, let me put up the 1 minute and the 5 minute. Yeah, a lot of 1 minute candles in a row here for UWMC. So I'd like this to make a little pullback on the 1 minute. Would be nice before I take a trade on this, just because of how many 1 minute candles how many green 1 minute candles it put in a row. So looking pretty extended. But yeah, volume's looking good. Unfortunately, highest volume of the day so far is on this red candle on the 1 minute. So we can see how this 5 minute shakes out, but this isn't what you want to see. And then another pretty high volume red candle here for the second red candle. So not great. So you guys gotta be careful with some of these when they pop off. Like they can go up, pretty significant amount, but a lot of the time they pull it back pretty quickly. So it's just definitely something to be careful of. COHN, I don't know why this went crazy at 9 o'clock, but also it did it on such light volume that I wouldn't be comfortable taking a trade on this. This one candle moved from $35 to $45 on 27,000 shares of volume, which is like literally nothing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let COHN pass us by here. KMPH, it's a good thing I sold off when we dropped below 17, since it's now just tapped $16 down here, or tapped 16.10. OCGN still going sideways. You just check out GameStop and Rocket coming into the open. Rocket's pulled back a significant amount, which is unfortunate. SLGG looks like it might be trying to make a recovery here, but at this point on it, I mean, coming into the open in 18 minutes, I probably wouldn't love to take a trade on it. I usually don't take any trades between 9:20 and 9:30 because I hate getting wrecked by people taking profit into the open. UWMC. God, it looks pretty good, but it's just that red volume on the 1 minute candle is kind of making me scared to take a trade on this. We'll see how this 1 minute candle holds up. Yeah, sales up 500% year over year. Yeah, that's pretty good. If I was a company, I'd want my year over year sales to be up 500%. But yeah, that COHN pop, like for how much volume was being traded, that is like an insane percentage change for such little volume. Like it's moved up 150% on 200,000 shares of volume. Like that's not normal. Oh, whoa, it's a really. Oh, I didn't even realize. It's a 400,000 float stock. How is that? I don't think I've ever seen a stock with that low float. Well, that makes sense why it moved up so much then. Wow, that's a crazy low float. it kind of is making sense to me why this happened. But the swings on this are just going to be absolutely insane. But I could see this going crazy today if people pick up on it. I should have taken a trade on this. Yeah, I didn't look at the float, but this actually makes a lot of sense why it moved so much. You know, it's only traded 250,000 shares, but it's a 400,000 share float. That's like 60% of its total outstanding shares have been traded. Back and forth already. God, I'd be willing to take a trade on COHN, but now I'd want it to dip. I mean, the ideal place to buy it was for this 1 minute. It pulled back down to $37, and then as it pushed back up over $40 and whatever 70 cents right here, that would have been the place to buy it. And it's made an amazing move up to $50 here. I think COHN's definitely one to watch at the Open though, because I could see people jumping on this with such low float, such a low float stock. I could see this getting pumped hard. Yeah, this last candle traded 10% of its total float in this one candle. And UWMC pulling back, higher red volume than green volume, so I don't think I'm going to take a trade on that. Ooh, man, dude, I really want to take a trade on COHN, but there's no good setup right now, unfortunately. I missed the one good setup that there was because the volume didn't make sense to me. But it's always something to watch out for next time. Next time, if I see something coming up on, price like this with such low volume, gotta make sure immediately check the float. And if the float is ridiculously low like this thing is, then it actually makes sense for the stock to be moving this much. I thought that this was just crazy, where it's like, it literally over doubled on 20,000 shares of volume, which is like unheard of. That usually means that the stock isn't actively traded and there was like no one sitting on the ask, and like one person just bought up a ton of shares before anyone else could react to it. So you do see that sometimes, but most of the time when you see that, it pulls back nearly the entire move immediately. So that was what I was expecting here. Because if this was like a 10 million share float and it moved up on 20,000 shares of volume, there would immediately be people be like, this stock price just doubled. I'm going to sell off whatever I'm holding, after the good earnings. But as you can see here, it made a move upwards. So, and UWMC still pulling back. Let's see, GameStop making nothing, making no moves. KMPH pulled back. So I'm not gonna take a trade on that before the open. OCGN also pulling back. Not gonna take a trade on that. OVID, yeah, pulled back really far down below VWAP now. RKT is pulled back, but you never know with like these like Wall Street bet stocks. Like the volume might come into this at 9:30, so I'm gonna keep it on watch, but I'm definitely not gonna take a trade on it until I start seeing it come back up, at least above VWAP. I'd want to see it break above this, $40 level if I was gonna take a trade on it. SLGG is pulled back pretty significantly, but it's still holding above VWAP, so this is one to watch. You don't like to see this high volume on the red candle, but it is still holding above VWAP, decreasing volume on the selling coming into the open, so could be an okay one. Yeah, TRXC is just completely wrecked. I think that's everything that we had on watch today. So yeah, a few things still looking okay. I would say SLGG, unfortunately, looks the best out of everything that we've been watching, besides COHN, but I haven't taken a trade yet on COHN. So CHN Carve just popped up on the scanners. So this is one that I've seen move up before. Very light volume move at the moment, but this is also so good thing to look at. If you look at the float on this, this is a 800,000 share float. So another one similar to COHN. So this might be like some kind of like sympathetic momentum where it's like someone was like COHN moved a lot, very low float stock. Like maybe we can get Carve moving a lot, and then people will buy into that too. Um, so far, it does not look like it's getting bought into, but it's definitely one to keep a watch of. Um, CUHN on the 1 minute here, kind of consolidating, uh, dropping a little bit now, but still, holding on to this level, a little bit of ascending support line here. So if we see this thing break above $49, it might be worth taking a trade on it. But again, now that it's 920, I don't love taking trades between now and the open because yeah, especially with this stock that just like literally doubled. It can come into the open and people will just be like, it's 5 minutes to the open, the stock price doubled, I'm just going to take my profits here. And with a low float stock, it only takes one person who's holding a big position to just completely tank it. It could drop $5, $10 now if one person is holding 50,000 shares of it. So, yeah, I would just be careful coming into the open on this. All right, and I usually don't trade into the open. For you people who have been here before, you know that. But yeah, I'm gonna go get ready. Maybe take a few trades on my other trading platform, but off stream. Let you guys know how it goes tomorrow. Let me know what trades you guys take and everything. But yeah, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate Rocket Sox. If you're still here, thanks for the follow, man. And I'll be here tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then.